You recording? Cool. So, Angela here with Fast Bitcoins. Just sat down with Andy Long from White Rock. How's it going?
Going pretty well, actually. Yeah, it's been a great conference so far.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, just tell us, what does White Rock do?
So we're a pure play Bitcoin miner. We've been operating since middle of 2021. We're mining with renewable energy in Sweden and in the USA. So we have we're on target to have 1.6 exahash running by the end of this year. We're basically taking hardware, ASIC hardware, plugging into green energy and creating Bitcoins and securing the network.
Cool. So you just opened a US mining facility, right?
That's right, yeah.
How does the challenges, or what challenges have you found about mining in the US compared to in Sweden?
So the hard thing in the US just now is actually finding the power, finding the resource, because as more and more hardware is getting deployed, more and more sites are being taken up. We're really pleased with the Texas project because it's quite innovative in that we're using stranded energy. So when you have existing extraction sites in Texas, you have these wells where there's like gas that bubbles up out of the ground, and it can't be used effectively. It's not economic to compress it or to take it in a pipeline anywhere. So normally they just set fire to it. It's called flaring. But actually, if you're smart, you can capture this gas, redirect it into generators, and then use it to mine Bitcoin. So that's what we're doing. So we're completely off grid. And that also means, for example, in the recent periods when miners in Texas have had to turn their power off because of grid shortages and whatnot, we've kept mining with no problems.
Awesome. So would you say that it actually incentivizes then Bitcoin mining, incentivizes the sort of investment in more renewable energy sources due to its constant customer status?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing, like most commercial loads or household loads go up and down over time. And what utilities need to justify the investment in new renewable generation is constant load. And we see that over and over across the world just now, is that the demand from miners is actually causing utilities to invest in new generation, whether it's solar or wind or longer term projects. It provides essentially a customer of last resort for the power, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, I can imagine, because it's basically like making energy convertible into money, essentially, at any point in time. So
yeah, exactly. So Bitcoin is secured by energy, and basically what mining does is it kind of takes that energy and makes it transportable into value. So we've seen this over and over. You have power that is stranded in a particular location. There's not industrial use for it. There's not enough grid to take it elsewhere. But you can turn up there with miners, turn that energy into Bitcoin, secure the network, and get economic value out of that energy.
So really it's a way of brilliantly not only utilizing underutilized or wasted energy sources, but also making it economically viable and economically incentivized as well for these areas that otherwise it would be hard to.
That's right. Yeah, and I think it's also it's causing utilities to kind of raise their game. Previously they were like, well, I'm in my geography and I don't have to do anything, but now there's like a global market. So as long as you're not in some sanctioned country or somewhere that has real security issues, that if you can make large quantities of renewable power available at a good price, then miners like us will come bang on your door and pay you for the power.
And what about more remote locations in which it usually wouldn't be profitable to harvest the energy because you wouldn't be able to transport it long enough distances for it to be profitable? Is it true that with Bitcoin, all of a sudden it opens up the sort of geography of it to a large extent, because you can, so long as you have an internet connection, use the energy and
yeah, that's right. And if you've got, if you have, I've seen people mining on mobile connections, on Starlink connections. There are gas operations out there of only a few hundred kilowatts, right, on small locations. We tend to be larger than that. We try and do kind of 5-10 megawatts in a particular site as a minimum. But yeah, if anywhere that you can get even a few kilowatts of energy that is otherwise going to waste, it can be used and converted into useful work.
Cool. Yeah. So, other than that aspect, how would you say you manage the volatility of Bitcoin's price as a miner? Is it a struggle?
It's kind of a British thing, right? Keep calm and carry on.
Yeah.
So I've been mining since 2013, and this is not the first bear market I've seen. We're sitting here this afternoon in Amsterdam, and we're getting like an 18.6 or an 18.7 print on the exchanges just now, which is like, it's pretty low. but we're still only 70% down from the all-time high. Last two bear markets we had in 2015 and 2018 were 85% down. So, that would be from the last ATH, that would be down at 12K Bitcoin. Now, that's not a prediction. I hope we don't see that. You just have to kind of have faith in the long-term value of the coin. There's 21 million coins. It's hard money. It's not going anywhere. And, volatility is kind of inevitable. But I think, as we approach the next halving in 2024, we usually see these kind of large gains with a kind of a 6 to 9 month delay after the halving. So I think there'll be a reasonable recovery from now and then probably a more aggressive upwards move in 24. But you just have to try and not look at the day-to-day vol and have faith in the kind of the long-term value of the asset.
For sure. I feel like Bitcoin is the only industry in which we can say the words, we're only 70% down.
This is the thing, right? I mean, like in equities, people freak out if you have like a 15% move in one day. It's like, oh my God, it's Black Monday. Or holding Bitcoin makes holding your other assets easy. It makes like equity volatility or any other volatility look like a walk in the park. So I think the longer you've been in the space and the longer you've been watching the asset and following the technology, the easier it is, because you're able to just kind of zoom out and say, well, it used to be a thing that, oh my God, we've gone from $400 to $100, or when Laszlo bought like 2 pizzas for 50,000 Bitcoin, like that was a thing, and that was the start of something. And I went to get lunch out in the yard here in Amsterdam this afternoon, and I got my meat-free chicken burger and I paid with Lightning, and it was like that. This is great.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, okay, this actually works. This is like frictionless, peer-to-peer electronic cash, and it works. And it's just a matter of time before adoption kind of is everywhere.
Yeah, brilliant. So another question I've always had about mining is, like, obviously during the early days of mining, it was very much a lot of people at home mining out of their houses and stuff. And there seems to be a home mining movement at the moment. But do you see that as realistic? What are the challenges of?
So I think home mining will always be there. Miners today are a bit noisier than they used to be. So yeah, you don't really want an S19 in the corner of your kitchen buzzing away. It would piss you off. But if you've got to heat your house anyway, and if you have like an electric boiler or electric heating, then why not use the electricity to create heat and to create coin at the same time. So I think it's just as it's good for people to run their own nodes, it's good for people to have experience of mining, even if it's with previous generation hardware, if it's creating heat. I was mining in 2013, little box, and it's actually really cool when you have like a wallet with zero balance, and then suddenly you start seeing these pairs appearing that you haven't given anybody any money for. Like, okay, this is how it works. And it helps you to understand the process. So I think home mining has got its place. In the kind of the broader space, so I think we'll see consolidation amongst the industrial scale miners. So we'll probably end up with 10 or 15 kind of large miners that have got 1, 2, 3% of the network, 3 or 4 big pools, and that's fine. You don't want it any more centralized than that. But big miners are now 50, 100, 200 megawatts, and that is hundreds of millions of dollars of hardware and of infrastructure, and that's not something that everyone can do.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. So final question, how would you see the future of Bitcoin mining? So do you see the peak locations of it changing? Is there any kind of trends towards out or into different locations? Or
yeah, look, there definitely is, and who's it said, predictions are difficult, especially about the future.
Yeah.
Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
But look, we saw in 2021, like the China mining ban, and we had a little dip, quite a big dip in difficulty, maybe 40%, and then everybody relocated. We saw Kazakhstan earlier this year, the government really kind of setting their face against mining, and so some people relocated, some people had hardware stranded, but I think what's clear is that the industry is very responsive and very quick to move. So as new energy sources appear, whether it's in South America or new generation sources or whatever, then we'll always be there to take advantage and to use that energy wisely. And I think I guess the key thing about mining is it's resilient and you can't kill it. You know, if you push it down somewhere else, it just pops up.
Yeah.
So it's not going away. Exactly right. You can't uninvent Bitcoin. So what will
Let's go on a t-shirt.
yeah, exactly. So it's going to continue, and then in the event that we have a continued prolonged bear market, then maybe difficulty will slow a bit. But this is the beauty of the white paper. It's the beauty of the algorithm. It's self-correcting. If there's not enough mining, it gets easier. Yeah. Right? It's every 2 weeks it adjusts. So we'll see new hardware coming through from other manufacturers, and that's fine. Innovation is a good thing, but the days of 10x improvements in efficiency we're past. It used to be you'd buy a miner and it would be worthless in 9 months. Now I think we'll still see 2, 3, 4 years life out of hardware, and it will continue. Next generation after XP might be another 20% better or something. Fine. So we'll just keep on mining, and difficulty will keep rising, and there will only ever be 21 million coins. And in 50 years' time, the block reward will be whatever it's going to be, like a 1/10 of one coin or something. We'll still be mining. Fun times ahead.
Cool. I think that's a good place to finish off. So thank you very much, Andy.